Okay, so we have recording space, we have battery, all things that matter. I'll try not to spend too much time on camera. I've just done a bowl of cereal. It's about 4:30 in the morning. Looks like things are starting to happen. And right, so my plan here is to simply go in, set everything to ultra, not use any crazy AI upsampling techniques, if you will. Those things that ensure that we get a particular frame rate. Right, what I want to do is just look at the raw performance. Okay, so I've left my task manager running in the background. That might allow us just to pop in and when we come out, see how much CPU usage was happening and whatnot. Right, so Alt Enter doesn't work. Alt Tab. We go full screen. Let's see how we go. It's looking good. We have sound. Seeing Dolby Atmos. Okay, so I'm reading this Unreal Engine 4. I thought it was UE5, but I have seen some stuff in game making me go, no, there's collisions sort of registered. I'm thinking, okay, UE4. So apparently it prepares the shaders, but it's still leading to some issues in the game, which people can't really understand why it does this step, and then it does some of the issues it's having. So I just want to have a look at the PC performance and get an understanding of what is going on. It's fairly easy for me to understand whether hardware is being utilised properly. I am a person who generally knows my thermals down to the degree, and different parts of a chip heat up at different rates. There's a lot of ways in which we can measure and keep track of what's going on. I'm fortunate to have one of those sorts of power supplies where you can kind of look at the voltages that are going down the lines and see how much watts your video card is consuming. It's not entirely accurate because I do believe there's a base level of power that comes through the PCI Express bus lanes, or bus, if you will. No, I'm talking like it's 4:30 in the morning. But it is true that the lion's share of the power into a video card comes via the cables we feed to the top of it, and arguably the base rate of power that comes via the PCI Express port is consistent generally across cards. Not entirely true, of course. When the machine is under load versus not. I'm always happy to watch something just sip power. So far my PC experience has been related to potentially Steam. I did run out of drive space when it had to do an unpack. There was a brief moment there where I had to do a little bit of maintenance on my machine to get up and running. I do find PC gaming an oxymoronic statement. I don't find there to be entertainment attached to the proposition of using a PC. Only because I, as a PC tech of about 30 years, just gave up on PCs a good year or so after Win 10 came out, and I was just done with servicing it in my local community, and I just literally turned my computer off and basically never turned it back on. And then the mining craze kind of happened, and I think I had a couple of Vegas in it and I sold them off. But the whole time just not using the computer, which is a luxury, I suppose. But yeah, look, after getting this wonderful screen, I had a reason to grab a modern display port outputting card. It was a burden that I needed to do after selling off my Vegas at the peak of the mining craze, to get a replacement card. So my old cards were about 12 teraflops a piece. The current card is 24 teraflops total, and I'm seeing that. So on the old cards I used to say run Battlefield 1 Ultra settings at 4K, and that would consume about 250 watts on a fully utilised Vega 64. If I put two Vegas in the machine and had them run in dual card mode, which quite a few games did support, there was definitely an exit strategy by the industry, like Battlefield 1 for example, Battlefield after 1.5, they added like one effect in a menu, same as Skyrim, where all of a sudden you basically couldn't use two cards because there'd be a flicker. It was certainly something that if anyone wanted to have maintained dual cards in the market, they wouldn't have needed to add these one special effects that all the best dual card games ran flawlessly prior to one special effect being added, and then some new effect gets shoehorned in. But it was fair to say that when I ran on 2 Vegas, my power consumption I could drop down to 80 to 100 watts per card, mostly because of thermals, and they'd be running in a cooler, a better operating space. But of course you can't always run dual cards, and the notion of you're not going to get perfect scaling outside of Battlefield, not all games gave that really linear, where you've just doubled your hardware, can we put out double the frame rate? It doesn't really work that way. So the adage has always been one single card to just brute force it, and so I've now got myself one single card to brute force it.
Press space bar to toggle.
And right, so the interface on the PlayStation seemed a little bit odd. I don't deny it. It felt like it was a PC and mouse interface. Now I'm actually on the computer. It actually feels odd. It feels a little bit low res and clunky. Alrighty, so right, all this stuff should be done. Right. The takeaway on this was that you'll get it on, certainly on the consoles, everyone, and it was all through Reddit, and it was just like, no, it's happened, just quit the game and come back in and it should just work. So probably not a bad point at this moment for us. I mean, I could do it the way it wants me to do it, but I've just got a feeling if I quit that game, probably shouldn't be doing that too much. We're trying to check stability here. What I really want to do is just see if the pre-calculated shaders now is a bypassable step, if it just notices that they've been built. Have we sped up the fire up time? And that's why no benchmarker, no overclocker is going to measure that first run. There's a few reasons for that. The temperatures haven't become stable. You'll sometimes get a little bit more headroom that doesn't represent 24/7 or long-term performance. It's a little bit concerning for me. I've got my chill turned on. My chill basically is the, wow, can we use less power to render less frames to the screen? It's great for power, conservation. But, and as you may have picked up in that first video where I had no network, it's because I turned all the networking hardware off at the other end of the house when I went to bed at night, and there was none. So I just put up a phone with a makeshift Wi-Fi network and just changed a few things. And I kind of feel like I've done the maintenance now. Look, I can see my hard drive light flashing. Look, I've put this on an ancient drive. I did put one of those new, what are they, Western Digital, I think they were, Fire Cooters, and that's in the PlayStation, but it was a version without a heatsink on it. It shouldn't really be in the PlayStation, but it was about 3 days before I bought a video card for the PC. So now I've got the luxury of, I probably should take that drive out, chuck it in the PC, see what real drive performance is. This is certainly installed on a less than acceptable drive. In fact, dare I say, this would be the worst possible drive to install it on. If I'd installed it on a hard drive, the direct write tech or whatever, the direct storage tech, all those sorts of things might benefit there. Not really. I think that they need an actual really fast drive to work. But if I put it on a hard drive, I wouldn't have the CPU overhead of running a budget SSD. And a Samsung Evo is a budget SSD. I generally have never run them. I mean, I've had 5 Pro Samsung drives, but the lion's share, more than 10 of my SSDs have all been good Intels. And I've bought quite a few Western Digital Blacks, I guess, for friends and family. But yeah, look, this is taking a while. Anyway, I can see my drive light still flashing. It might be doing something on the internet right now because my phone, we're in a bit of a valley. I must admit, I don't even think I turned the 5G on. It might be running quite slow. We get like 1 bar of reception sometimes. I didn't put the phone in an optional spot. I thought I just needed a network. This will teach me for quitting a perfectly working game. Anyway, I can still see my drive flashing in such a way as to suggest stuff is going on. Let's see what is going on. Okay, so we can see the CPU is being fairly well hammered. You can see the video card isn't really doing anything. The drive that I'm loading from should be... there. Right, so there's just no data movement on the drive, so all those lights I'm seeing flashing have nothing to do with any of this stuff. So I mean, at this point we could go over to Resource Monitor, we could actually see what is happening. The reason I'm leaving some of this process up is that it's good for other people to see how technicians might cope with a challenge, what sort of things they might go and look for as to where things are at. AMD drive cache, right, so it looks to me like it is checking those shaders. Right, so maybe the second pass, it's not showing a screen saying build shaders, it's arguably just doing it. Hey! Okay. Look, oh, I was about to quit again. Let's see what's happening here. Right, so you can see that shaders are a math process. Once they've got some text, they've got some concepts to work with. It's just a math of stacking them, I guess, down. Having these, I guess you could imagine interactive textures almost built up. I mean, they're not, they're shaders, but it's all good. Alright, so whatever was happening before was largely CPU. We saw it at an AMD driver file. I'll just, okay, Enter should be full screen. Yay, still supported.
Menu reader.
Okay, so it was F before to
press space bar
this screen. F. Okay, F again. Oh, good. So if I put my oh, okay. Okay, so for the time being, yeah, it's all good. Yay! Ooh, this is interesting. Ho 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 ho. Yeah, okay, so they missed the ball on that one. And ray tracing's obviously turned off, but it likes to say the word ultra there. As a PC newbie, I'd be like, yeah, but my ray tracing's set to ultra. And it's so intense, it locks me out from changing it. Anyway, what we're going to do is we just want to break it, right? So we just want to make it absolutely scream. So we'll just go gadunk, gadunk, gadunk. And let's see how good their benchmark is. So what I was reading recently, I think this might have been the game, was, oh, that's not really a benchmark. Okay, so basically this looks to me like there must be an internal driver branch that AMD have. This game doesn't seem to want to acknowledge my card as existing. My drivers aren't that old, they should be Christmas-ish. So I'm just going to do that. Yeah, we'll do that. And the same as I noticed today on the console was that it was a little bit clunky before the game started, and then my entire experience just changed. And I just went, whoa, you know, this is pretty solid. Alright, so little things like not letting me click in the corners, just so many little things that one patch could absolutely fix. Right, so this to me looks like it now wants to run, so I'm just going to quit that. That was Alt F4, for anyone wondering. A lot of PC games no longer support Alt F4. I think it's a Windows thing, depending on the version of DirectX the game is running, the title is running. You might have to do the old three-finger salute, Control Alt and Delete to get access to a task manager to wind it down that way. But yeah, I like it when the old classics, Alt F4, Alt Enter for full screen, Alt F4 to quit a program. Always a fan of the power to the people, you know. Power to the user. Imagine that. Imagine if computers were products we used. Anyway, I come from a different era. Alrighty, so yeah, look, 5 o'clock in the morning. It's technically the 8th here in Australia, and okay, so between starts. That second start looks like it was something may have gone wrong. In fairness, I mean, when I tab out of a program and it loses